Yabba the zigga the hubba the zibba the show your fix.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yes, hello friends, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well. Genuinely, legitimately hope that. I want my viewers to feel good, so I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to Chelsea News, daily series here on the channel where I reflect, burping into the microphone. I don't burp into the microphone daily, you should know. But I do talk about Chelsea News daily, so welcome back, right? Today we're speaking about a little bit from Armando Broja. He's done a big interview that's been cited on The Athletic, which is really interesting, actually. I feel kind of bad for the young man, but we move. A little update on Tottenham joining Aston Villa in the race to sign Conor Gallagher from the Mail Online. And the Mirror has published an article saying the 5-point blueprint as new Chelsea manager plans ruthless overhaul, which I'm quite excited to read and share with you guys here on the channel. So, welcome, strap yourselves in. I hope you have a good time here today. Yeah, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing. Hit the bell if you choose to subscribe so you get notified. Alright mate, so yes, let's start off with Armando Broja, the Albanian striker. Of course, look, he did this interview and it's on The Athletic. I feel really sad, bro, because like he said some stuff about Marco Silva, like called him up and was like, yeah, I desperately want you. And he says, yeah, I'll play you all the time if I can. He didn't play him at all. Dude freaking scammed him. Broja got scammed by the Fulham manager. And I feel kind of bad. And look, granted, Muniz came in and scored loads of goals, but it does seem like a pretty cold and heartless thing for a young player. I know, like, you make your decision or whatever, but I do think that's a little bit cold. Look, Broja is a highly rated player. And I'm going to read this last segment of the article here. So what happens next? Well, it looks likely Broja will be sold this summer. Among the clubs interested, Monaco of France's Ligue 1, AC Milan in Italy, of course. Then Premier League side, West Ham, Everton and Wolves. So significant clubs across the board, including Champions League clubs there. Are Monaco in the Champions League? Are they in the Champions League? Ligue 1 table. Ligue 1 table. Yes, they are. 2 Champions League clubs want Broja. Great. They will want him to have a good European Championship, but more because it will help them generate a bigger fee. Of course, he's the leading man for Albania up top, which is great. The possibility of leaving the club he joined age 8 does not scare him. He has seen fellow Chelsea Academy graduates like Callum Hudson-Odoi and Dom Solanke move on to enhance their careers at Forest and Bournemouth respectively. Broja said this. He said this. Callum is a great talent, and he had a major injury, of course, the Achilles tendon tear, at Chelsea, like I did. And things didn't work out, so he joined Forest, and now he's scoring goals and is becoming himself again. They believed in him, and that is what a player needs when you go through something like that injury. Dominic wasn't given games at Chelsea, or indeed Liverpool. Remember, he went to Liverpool. But he's now got 5 seasons under his belt at Bournemouth where he's been allowed to make mistakes, have bad games, do the wrong and the right thing. He finished the season as one of the top scorers in the Premier League, and someone wants to buy him. If they want to buy him, it's going to cost a lot of money. Yeah, a lot of goals for Bournemouth. That is 19 Premier League goals. Remember on the final day of the season, they came to Stamford Bridge, Bournemouth. I was certain he was going to get that 20th against Chelsea. But that's an amazing season for Dom. Nothing has been decided yet, but if I need to go somewhere else to get back my groove, then of course I would want to do that. Very mature, and that's good because you probably will have to, bro. As a player, there is no better feeling than being on the pitch and knowing you have a club and a team who defends you, a club who allow you to make mistakes because they know you will become something. But right now, all my focus is doing the best for Albania at the Euros. True, but the thing is, bro, it's Chelsea. I know we've had these recent iterations of Chelsea, like Lampard's Chelsea under Abramovich, where we played the kids. Tammy Abraham was given a chance, Mason Mount, Reece James, Tomori, etc. But it isn't like that anymore. And we'll get to Maresca and expectations in a moment. But yeah, there's kind of like, go on, just try your best to make mistakes. Well, you can't do that. maybe you can do that when we're really good and you've got a senior striker in front of you. We're not in that position now. But look, I hope he has a good Euros. One, obviously, so Chelsea can sell him for a lot of money. But two, because he's a great young striker and he deserves a good career. So, score goals for Albania, my friend. Let's move on. Daily Mail, sorry. Sammy Mockbell has written, Tottenham are set to rival Aston Villa in the race to sign Chelsea midfielder Conor Gallagher and are ready to make their move ahead of this month's profit and sustainability deadline. That's soft cap, the first deadline or the first window shutting, the paper window where I can't even make an analogy. Spurs have a strong interest in the England international and are preparing to make an offer for the Blue Star. Wait a minute! Who is also a target for Atletico Madrid? Because that makes total sense. Like, the more I think about it, Conor Gallagher is like, he should play for Atletico Madrid, shouldn't he? I mean, I don't want to sell him. Let's get out of the way, eh? I'd like him to stick around, but him playing for Simeone would absolutely love Conor Gallagher, wouldn't they? Just tearing it up in midfield. Oh, great stuff. Indeed, Tottenham sends an opportunity to secure a good value deal for Gallagher before June the 30th. For the cut-off, of course, that's when they think Chelsea need to get money in. Chelsea are under pressure to comply with PSR, apparently, although Chelsea actually deny this entirely, that they do not need to sell before that deadline. And all this noise from the outside, including Sammy Mockbell, isn't correct. Gallagher's, of course, entering the final 12 months of his deal, while Chelsea have tried to tie him down to new terms. There is no agreement in place. That's also, we're hearing differing stories about what's going on with the contract. But there's been no positive movement, whether that's Conor not coming down in his demands, or if that's not Chelsea offering him more. I'm not sure what's happening there. Spurs want to take advantage of Chelsea's precarious position in terms of getting the deal done before the end of June, before the end of this month. Gallagher will almost certainly be named in Southgate's final squad for the Euros on Saturday, and there's a sense that all parties would prefer his future to be resolved before the tournament gets underway to prevent any distractions in Germany. Villa have already opened talks with Chelsea over their interest in Gallagher, and the fact the Midlands side can offer him Champions League football next season could be a factor in his future. Of course, also, he's a Chelsea boy, born and bred Chelsea fan. Would he want to go to Tottenham? I mean, I don't know how much, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Tottenham are aware of the difficulties that may arise in trying to lure... Oh, there you go. It's literally, he's got deep-rooted Chelsea connections trying to lure him to Tottenham. There you go. So it said it here in the article. So this is a big one here. Chelsea want a minimum of £50 million sterling for Conor Gallagher. The 12 months left in this deal, 50 million quid. The Blues sold fellow Blues Academy graduate Mason Mount in a deal worth initial 55 rising to 60. Yeah, but Mason Mount, he was like the poster boy of Chelsea, wasn't he? And he'd won the Champions League and Club World Cup and, won Player of the Season 2 seasons in a row. That's why he cost that much. And he was like nearly a starter for England. He was a starter for England for a while, but dropped out. So Gallagher isn't all those things. So, yeah, it makes sense why he's less. Stamford Bridge officials have been impressed with the way Gallagher has conducted himself throughout the uncertainty of his future. Yeah, he's been professional, he's worn the captain's armband, he's been a top boy, which has done himself a service, either way, because he's just showing he's a professional. While talks over a deal haven't gone according to plan, the midfielder hasn't allowed the uncertainty to disrupt his season. Well, let me sip my drink while I think about that. To be honest, if you want my pure, detailed, and unfiltered opinion on Chelsea selling Conor Gallagher, I make the case for it, against it. Do go watch my previous uploads of this one, which was uploaded on Wednesday, the 4th of July, Thursday evening, talking about the Aston Villa links. I go into detail. I talk about Conor maybe not being the preferred profile for the project. Ooh, a lot of alliteration there, moving forwards. Let's move on. So this is an article on the Mirror from Scott Trotter. Good name, strong name. 5 bullet points of Maresca in his ruthless Chelsea overhaul. I'm not going to read his little intro here, but I am going to go straight into the 5 points. Describing Maresca and what's going to happen. with Chelsea or what he's going to look to do. So the first one is winning matters. That sounds quite Chelsea. Chelsea have been without a trophy since winning the Club World Cup in 2022 and have not finished among the Premier League's top 4 during Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital's time with the club. It has seen the caveat of the project, inverted commas, and the patience being touted by a side whose identity had previously almost entirely been concerned with winning. Truth! Pochettino's first press conference in the job saw him focus on Chelsea's history, but weeks into the season, he was forced to acknowledge Chelsea's injuries and the youthful nature of his squad following an overhaul. Yeah, he changed his tune massively, didn't he? It appears that even when development is the priority, Maresca's thoughts are largely on winning. However, Man City youth product Tommy Doyle explained the impact the coach had in finding the Premier League 2 success. He says, I've been with the U23s for a few years. I've seen the different styles and coaches. It wasn't based on winning. It was based on playing nice football, which is nice, but you want to win. As soon as Enzo came in, he said, listen, we're going to win this league. When a coach says that, you start to believe as players. Sometimes you want to win as a player and your coach is saying different things and not really focused on winning. It's like the anti-Mourinho, isn't it? You get off track. He came in and he said we want to win. It's easier said than done, but when you tell yourself that you have a very good chance and ability as we have good players. Yeah, it's almost like this sort of psychological priming. For those of you who've done NLP or listened to Tony Robbins before, you'll know. You've got to just see yourself doing it like, now. Like, he might even come into the Chelsea dressing room and say, let's win the league. Let's just, pfft. And if that makes us finish in the top 4, do your thing, man. So number 2, and this is a little bit like, Maurizio Sarri alarms going off. Immovable on style. While Maresca will have ambitions to take Chelsea to the top, it will come with a clear, identifiable style of play. The Italian coach is confident within his methods, and he will be stubborn in maintaining his system. Remember that with Sarri, the passing, suddenly the opposition team has figured out that they could just sit on Jorginho in the regista role, and it just all our plans came crumbling down, and we didn't have a plan B. Yeah, I know. The season ended well, 3rd and a European trophy, but we were in the trenches for a while there. If you cast your mind back, 6 years now, ruddy heck. So, that has often seen the criticism that the Italian has no plan B. There we go. What is it with these Italians and no plan B? It's like Conte as well. And prompted frustration from some corners that Leicester were not more flexible in the way they went one way to the title, The Foxes dominated the bulk of their matches, but on occasion struggled to threaten the opposition area and saw significant time with the ball being retained by the goalkeeper and the defence. Yeah, starting to ring bells. Ding, ding, ding. Maresca suggested his side won 15 points due to making alterations within the course of 90 minutes, but ultimately he is prepared to live and die by the backbone of his footballing philosophy. Quote, I arrive at this club to play with this idea, Maresca said in January amid criticism. The moment there is some doubt about the idea, the day after, I will leave. It's so clear, no doubts. Yeah, he's a strong character, by the way. And for all of you, accusing him of being a yes man, that's not a yes man, is it? So let's move on to number 3. He's strict on fitness. Oh, God. This one makes me nervous because of our injury issue. So yeah, Chelsea saw a pre-season dominated by running last summer, and there was emphasis on ensuring players were able to cover plenty of ground on the pitch under Pochettino. However, there was a great deal of concern as the Premier League's youngest squad saw a plethora of injuries throughout the season. Amen. Maresca's backroom team will include a fitness coach, Marco Alvarez. That's the guy at Tottenham, wasn't he? And could see changes beyond the training pitch. Alvarez arrives from Leicester with Maresca. That rhyme, there it is again. But built his reputation with Ramos at Sevilla and Tottenham. With the Lily Whites, Alvarez was notorious for banning sauce. Like Antonio Conte, no ketchup. The sauce, fruit juice, cake, and salt and pepper. Jeez! I mean, cake, fair enough. And fruit juice, incredibly sugary. No fibre as well, which is why it spikes your blood sugar really badly. Little health tip for you there. With the Foxes last time. Yeah, I heard his fried eggs were also taken off the breakfast menu. Let them have eggs. Apparently it's because they were fried. You can have boiled eggs or poached eggs. While Pochettino's strength was in building good relationships with players, such changes might offer a greater test to winning over some squad members. If improvement is seen on the pitch, it should not stand in Maresca's way, however. Good. So maybe it won't be... the diet's good, but hopefully he won't, bury players into the ground from too much running. So we're on to number 4 or 5 now, and that's communication. Given the matter of Pochettino's departure and the manner in which the club parted ways with Tuchel, it's been suggested that Maresca's arrival is, in part, because he is a yes man. So it's something we talked about before. And by the way, just to reiterate, people who cover Leicester last season have all denied this concept of him being a yes man. While the Italian is in a position where he is content to be fully focused on coaching and driving performance on the pitch, he has not previously shed away from conflict. So here you go. Even after a successful season, Maresca was not afraid to criticise what he perceived as issues in communication between the club hierarchy in himself. He said, quote, "Nobody mentioned to me in January that we would not be able to bring in players. The same happened about financial fair play. Nobody from the club mentioned to me that when I signed that it could be a problem." Excuse me. I think this is not the right way to do. I think we will be in a moment need to sit down and understand. Yeah, well... let's just read the quote and then I'll say more about it. I'm in charge of a club. It means being the manager. I need things to work out well for me. There are things to clarify. Okay, we get the point. He wants to be spoken to. But the thing is, with Chelsea, the sporting directors are always there and available. And even Clearlake and Todd Bowley were accused of being almost too present for a lot of the time. So I think if you want these conversations, they will be available to you. Do you know what I mean? That should serve as a warning, though, to Chelsea's sporting directors and owners. As Leicester discovered too, Maresca is unafraid to find those who will match his ambitions and thus open up collaborative could be essential. Look, it says, if you want to win, let's work together and do it together, but you got to talk to me, basically. It's just, it's not very much a yes man. So let's move on to the 5th and final, which will be really interesting. It's called Best Players on the Pitch. Understandably, Maresca is keen to have the best players in his squad at his disposal. While it already seems some high profiles will be available for sale, of course, the aforementioned Conor Gallagher and the likes of Trevoh Chalobah, Maresca will be keen to control what he can in order to hit the ground running. There was hope for Argentina that Enzo Fernandez would be made available for the Olympics, and perhaps some expectation that Badiashile and Gusto could join up with France. It appears already that Maresca's blocked these exits, as he wants them to be available immediately in pre-season to learn his idea. This is something I've already reacted to and reported on the channel. So Gusto will be seen as required of Reece James, missing the Open Premier League matches due to a suspension. Of course, we appealed that. It wasn't overturned. Fernandez could be central to Maresca's system, with the World Cup winner a potential link between defence and attack, as Moises Caicedo becomes a box-to-box disruptor to replicate the role of Harry Winks and Wilfred Ndidi at Leicester. A more Galactico version, isn't it? Winks and Ndidi, Fernandez and Caicedo. That could prove the answer to unleashing Chelsea's £221 million duo. Woof! Yeah, many of you have seen some of these predicted lineups and setups with Maresca, and actually having Caicedo in front of Enzo Fernandez, which is very much through the looking glass now, people, because it was Caicedo before in a double pivot and Enzo in a number 10 sometimes. Swapping them around completely, having Enzo as a playmaker, quarterback, regista, whatever you want to call it, and then a guy in front of him that's actually pressing and tackling and doing all that stuff, which will be Moises Caicedo. We don't know yet. It's speculating to a degree. Still, some positive stuff there. Very much a dogmatic philosophy manager. That's a big character as well. The one recurring theme with Maresca is he's ambitious. He believes he could be the best. He says, look, Guardiola's a genius. I understand it's football. I want to do that. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win football matches. Great in theory. Let's see it in practice, big man. Let me know what you think, though. As always, comment down below. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And heck, why not sharing? But if you do choose to subscribe, make sure you turn notifications on when you hit the bell here on Football Therapy. And I hope to see you back here very soon. Peace.